I want to make a product that I named NYPD after Paula, my wife. Her father was served many, many years in the New York Police Department over on the East River. That's a tough job. You're on the boats, and once in a while you're picking up a jumper, but most of the time you're picking up bodies that the mob has dumped into the East River. So it's an active job, and I wanted to have a little fun with the ice cream, so I named it NYPD, New York Police Department, and if you want to use this formula, by all means, go ahead. If you want to name it after your police department, the Winter Park, Florida Police Department, the Brooksville, Florida Police Department, Palm Beach Police Department, by all means, go right ahead. But the fun joke about it is, since it's geared for police officers, the two main ingredients are coffee and donuts. And it's really a spectacular flavor. Jeff tried it and said, he gave it the seal of approval, and they said, you know what, there is a way to make this better. So, of course he did. So we are going to use Jeff's addition to make it better. What I do is I use decaf coffee, so that you can eat this at 10 o'clock at night and it's not going to keep you up for 3 days.
The sugar won't matter if that.
No, we don't matter about sugar. Never do. I use the Taster's Choice in deference to Jeff because he puts a lot of things of maple syrup in there. So I put some maple syrup in. It adds to the flavor. And I was taking donuts, and I will do that today. I buy glazed donuts, and I'll break up about half of them and put them right into the machine, and another portion into pieces as it's coming out. So you have the visual, you have the taste. If you're blindfolded and you taste it, you say, oh yeah, I can taste donuts. But you also have the visual of pieces of donuts. So it works very well. Jeff's idea was, why don't you he heard that I had some extra donuts left over from the last time, and they're frozen. He said, why not take the frozen donuts and grind them up in the Ninja blender into a powder and pour it in. So now for every particle of coffee ice cream, there's going to be a particle of donut next to it. So I think it's going to make a great signature Emery Thompson ice cream even better. So we'll get started on that. Jeff, if you'll help me with the Ninja,
sure.
I'll get the other stuff going. Jim, I had a guy call from Bulgaria yesterday.
No, you didn't.
I did. Actually, it was an email, I'm sorry, from Bulgaria, and he said, I want a CB350 and 2 Ninjas.
Yeah, I wish I made money on those Ninjas.
I know. They are pretty amazing. So here's the formula.
Oh, you didn't.
They're pretty frozen.
You didn't separate them.
Now, you want a knife? And we'll just kind of see what we can do to break them up. We'll pass this around. Everybody, that's the formula. Watch your fingers. And I'm going to go get 5 quarts of dairy blend. I'll be right back.
No cutting board, of course.
Whoa.
Krispy Kremes would have been good.
Yeah, but you know me, I'm cheap. These are Walmart specials. Any questions so far? I'm using Taster's Choice freeze-dried crystals. I'm pretty ordinary when it comes to food and all, but I am a coffee snob. I bring in green beans and roast them myself, and then grind them up. And I
green beans?
Raw beans.
Oh.
Not green beans. Raw beans from different countries, Ethiopia, Sudan, of course, Colombia, and all sorts of places. And I love my coffee. Yes. Okay, you can just leave them right there. Thank you. So I was saying I love my coffee, but when it comes to making coffee ice cream, there is nothing better than freeze-dried coffee, and I use the Taster's Choice. The crystals dissolve about 99%, so every once in a while you make it a little crunch, but it makes an incredible coffee ice cream. Now, I make it very strong, because if you're a coffee drinker, you like it strong. You think Starbucks is weak. If you're a tea drinker, you're not going to buy this flavor because you don't like coffee. So I'm making it for the coffee lover. I'm using the decaf, like I said, so it doesn't keep you up all night. The first time I made coffee ice cream, my sister from Chicago, who she and her husband moved down here, I told her not to eat the ice cream after 6 o'clock at night. Well, she ate a pint of it at 11 o'clock at night, and she comes in 3 days later, and her eyes are down here like bags. And I said, what the hell happened to you? And she said, I ate your coffee 3 nights ago, and I'm still up, because it's a high concentration. Let me see my formula. 5 ounces. Now, should I just pour this in the machine, Jeff, or mix it in here?
That's crystals. You
Yeah.
can pour that in the machine.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing. So I'm going to pour the mix in. First, I'm going to, close the gate. And the 5 ounces. Whoa, that sounds like it's... Yep. I'm just going to pour them right in.
Genius.
Good. And then I'm adding some maple syrup because Jeff's here and it does add a nice flavor. Jeff, you were telling me that if I buy maple syrup in quantity, not to buy this expensive stuff. What did you say to buy?
No.
Or there was something about Mrs. Butterworth's at one time.
Oh, I
Do you
don't think
recall
so.
that? No? Okay.
That's just sugar and flavor. You might as well just buy flavor.
Oh, okay.
Maple flavor.
All right, so I'm using pure maple syrup. And since I had some coffee grounds left in this cup, I'm just going to stir it up a little bit and get the benefit of the extra stuff.
I'm doing all the work here.
You are. I see that. You're doing a fine job, too. If you keep it up, you might get a raise. But, maybe not. And goes the maple syrup. Something else that looked lumpy went in there, too. I don't know what that was. Okay, so we'll just wait on Jeff's donuts. This stuff's really expensive per ounce, but it keeps well, so it won't go to waste. Any questions so far? You know, while he's doing that, I can be putting in the donuts. No, he didn't have 13.
How many did you eat?
I think there were about 7 in there. You want to put it all in, Jeff?
More.
I know the answer. Jeff believes in too much is never enough. But I'm going to put these in for flavor. Just breaking off pieces. You can't do this in any other batch freezer. You can't get them into the machine. And if it was hard things like walnuts, they'll void your warranty because the cylinder isn't thick enough to be able to stand the punishment of hard nuts going in the machines. I put in nuts, berries, bananas, cookies, you name it. Everything can go right in an Emery Thompson because our barrels are handmade. They're not spaghetti pots. They're handmade and they're 6 times thicker than any other cylinder on the market. That's why we last decades and they only last
Why don't we
8
put
years.
this in
Go right ahead.
sooner?
Yeah.
I'm right-handed, so you have to move.
I'll move. Put in all you want.
How many donuts is that crushed up?
Oh, we don't know.
I think it was
it's-
a dozen.
I think it was 7. Because I remember the space. But I won't need as many of these whole pieces because we have so much of that. But either way, it's going to be a very intense flavor, and that's the whole purpose of ice cream. If you want to know how to fail at making ice cream, just have someone taste your pale pink ice cream, and they say, "Oh, that's delicious. What is it?" Well, if they can't tell it's red raspberry instead of strawberry, you just failed as an ice cream maker because you didn't put enough flavor in. It should be obvious immediately.
Let's taste this before we add more.
All right.
Give it a minute and we'll taste it.
Okay. Any questions? Jeff, I think our Q&A is going to be crickets. But you watch. As soon as we break for lunch, you're all going to be lined up at my office and cornering Jeff. Hey, I just have a question. Well, everybody else would like to hear the question, too. There are no bad questions.
Well, there are.
Well, maybe coming from me, but not from our audience. You want a spoon, Jeff? Or no, I got better. A squeeze cup.
Oh, I tasted already,
And?
and we're good.
Okay. So if Jeff says we're good, remember, I'm always about speed. I'm going to turn on the refrigeration. There's really nothing going. Jeff waits until everything's in, and that's fine. But there is no congealing of the ice cream for at least the first 3 minutes. It's still completely liquid. I had a wonderful conversation with this about a physicist about boiling water. Do you start with cold water or hot water? He said what you're doing is with freezing, you're taking a lot of the heat out. Let's say we're at a 34-degree mix. You're taking it down to about 25 over the course of 3-4 minutes. And then all of a sudden, just like boiling water, it snaps. And all of a sudden, freezing is happening. Or you're boiling water, and the last time you checked it, is just tiny little nothings happening. And then you go back a minute later, and it's at a full boil. In physics, which I couldn't explain to you, it really does have a curve that starts off slowly like this where nothing much is happening, then straight up. And it turns into boiling, or in ice cream, it goes shooting down into freezing. I usually figure you can put, if you forget an ingredient, which if you watch our 209 videos, you'll see me forget things all the time. And if you could hear the audience, these microphones are pretty good so they don't pick you up. But if you could hear the audience, there's people shouting at me. You know, you forgot the chips, you forgot the grape nuts, and I'm going, I love you too. And then we find out later that I left a key ingredient out. So while that's going, I'm going to break up some pieces of donut, if I can find a container. And you could use any kind of donut that you wanted. I mean, any type of donut. It doesn't have to be glazed donuts. It could.
I thought that in a minute or so we could add some more of this so it'll float around in there.
Okay.
It won't dissolve.
I'll leave it to you. Jeff, we're going to be reduced down to talking politics and religion if they don't come up with questions during the Q&A.
Well, I have a topic that I wanted to address.
Oh, good. That would be great. This is the part where I blow the whole video and lick my fingers. Done that too. Thank God for editing.
What editing?
Yeah, what editing?
We've seen your videos.
There ain't no stinking editing.
Yeah.
You don't know what gets edited out. Here comes our editor-in-chief right now. Ken Putt is head of our IT department, which is based in Magnolia, Texas. That's down in Houston. And Ken makes me look good. Well, I mean, I look the same, but he takes out all the profanity and insults against health departments and executive chefs. Just bleeps them right out, or substitutes in other words. It is a full-time job. You could eat the whole container of that Halo Top, and you'd say, "Why did I bother?" It's like eating plastic.
I couldn't understand what you were saying. What that was.
Oh, you mean the name?
The name.
Oh, Halo, as in angel. They're probably going to sue me once the video comes out.
I was going to ask you.
Yeah. Ken, I used to be a public servant. I was chairman of the Republican Committee in Rye, New York. And I found out the best advantage of that is you can't sue a public servant for their comments. So I was immune. Not anymore.
Is that still true? You can't sue a public servant?
As far as I know, you can't.
Only sue the city.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do
where
with
the bum
this?
works. I'm going to put them in as it comes out.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Questions? Anything?
Round up. The donut bragging looks like it went well.
Yeah, it did. Jeff almost lost his fingers because they were so solid that he could hardly break them. You want to ask about Oprah? Go ahead. Yes. How much of the dairy mix? 5 quarts. Because we're making a 10-quart batch.
Price.
How much is it?
The price. He's asking the price.
I don't know prices.
The ice cream mix runs about $40 to $50 for a box, which is 2 bladders, which is 5 gallons. 2.5 gallons of bladder.
I'm like the Queen of England. I just say, bring me mix. And it arrives. Huh? Yes, let them eat donuts.
Let's get rid of this.
I have a question. When you're putting together your plant and storage layout, as far as where to put your sinks and your equipment and everything, how do you know where you have to legally put before you install things and then somebody comes in and tells you you have to?
Let's repeat the question first.
Okay. Ask that when we sit down for our Q&A, all right?
Yeah,
Don't forget.
that's a good one. Because it's a real blend. That's a good question. We'll take that one. So we ask for all these questions, then we tell them, no, we're not going to answer your question.
Well, that's good to sit down. That's a good question.
That is.
Because he's opening up in St. Petersburg,
Ah,
and he'll only be able to purchase the property from New York by pictures and stuff like that. So the layout's important.
okay. How are we doing there? Now, instead of the fastest way of emptying this when we're ready would be to put it into the 2.5 gallon tubs, I'm going to use these containers and the smaller ones. And I have an ulterior motive. Those of you who are older than 20, keep this one in mind. You get a doctor who is a specialist, and you know, I have one up in New York I'm going to see at the beginning of February. He's an eye guy, and he's an old friend of mine. And no, I just want to remain perfect. And so when I first made the appointment with him 10 years ago, no, it didn't take me 10 years to get the appointment, but it might as well have. His receptionist, his office staff said, "Bring War and Peace. He makes all his appointments for 3 o'clock, and you're going to sit here for 2 or 3 hours." I said, "Okay, great. Well, I don't like to sit, so I got to come up with something." So I brought ice cream. And so I bring in a container of ice cream. I say, "I brought ice cream for the staff and the doc." And they go, "Wow, wonderful. We'll take that from you." I go, "No, I'll hold on to it. I want to present it to the doctor myself." Oh, and look, it's melting. I got right in. That trick worked 3 times in a row. By this time, on a first name basis with the doc, you know, I was calling him, "Hey, doc." And so the fourth time I go, I waited for 2.5 hours. I said, "Doc, what's going on here? I brought ice cream, and you made me wait for 2.5 hours." He said, "Oh, the lady before you brought brownies. I wasn't hungry." You know. But anywhere you got to go, any kind of specialist, anywhere that they're going to hold you up, except motor vehicles, they're going to hold you up anyway. But anywhere, bring ice cream. It's a great entry. It always makes perfect gifts. Ready? I guess you're ready. You're pointing to me.
I think we shouldn't put it in this. I think we should put it in a bigger thing.
You want the bigger?
Yeah.
All right. I've been overruled.
Well, because it's a 5-quart, it's a 10-quart batch.
Right.
That won't hold enough, and this is easy to throw them in.
Okay. Ready?
Hang on. Let's make sure we're there.
Now, there's a couple ways to do
Okay,
this.
we're
You can take out a gallon of ice cream and then swirl it in, or what Jeff's going to do is he's going to open it up part way, and I'm going to throw in the pieces as fast as I can. Pretty easy, huh? This is called variegating, if you ever see it in a book. Variegating can be adding pieces like this. It can be a chocolate swirl, a butterscotch swirl, anything you want. Let her loose. And I can see a whole lot of little ground up pieces in here, which is great. We need Sammy. You know, you don't think Ken earns his money? At this point, this is where I reach down, pick it up, and eat it. And Ken has to edit it, and then lick my fingers. And then Ken's got to edit it out. So there we go.
Okay.
That is NYPD. So come on up and try it. I think you'll like it.
You seem to always be first in line.
No, this time I let him do first.
That's the fact.
Hey. Sir?
Nice.
You have to forgive the cheap donuts.
Now, at your store, when you make it, you usually make 6 gallons at a time of every flavor. You make the full batch.
Correct.
6 gallons?
And actually, truth be known, I make double batches.
Double. On average, since you charge the same price for ice cream, and they're all different flavors, what's the average cost per batch to make ice cream per batch?
Well, we'll get into that.
All right.
That's not a scooping topic.
That's good.
What are you doing? What are you doing? Don't save the environment. Throw that away.
What's
What?
that?
I want to show you after
Okay.
when we're off camera.
Okay.
It's a bit racy.
Look at
Okay.
these
I think you
shirts.
might like it.
They're cool.
Yeah, I know, right?
They're really cool.
You see the back? Wait till he
No.
turns around.
The adult frozen dessert. I love it.
Joshua cast tons everybody in this class.
Throw that away.
For what price?
Yeah, right.
I'll get us some chairs.
Okay. Let me try that before you get rid of it.
Ken, you want a taste? Huh? All right. Yeah. Yeah.